Hey folks, I just want to take a few minutes and tell you some of the topics that we look for at Positive News. Someone asked me what kind of stories we look for. We look for things that have to do with local community heroes and things. We want groups or organizations or individuals themselves that are making a positive impact in the community that they live in. These people can be volunteers, they can be teachers, they can be small business owners going above and beyond what they're doing. So if you're a business owner and you want some free pop, we would love to have you. One of the areas that I touch on quite frequently has to do with the environment and things like that. It has to do with the reforestation of an area. Maybe it has to do with wildlife protection and things like that. It has to do with communities reducing plastic use. I mean, just the other day, I shared a story like that about a community that was making a deadline that they were going to change the way they do things. But I also talk about some of the technology that comes along and changes things as well. That technology, excuse me, a couple of the areas that I've been dealing with have been in the areas of better batteries and things like that. I'm a big proponent of new technology and things, and so I like to see those things happen. Another area has to do with when I see things that have to deal with health related problems or social problems or things like that. In my own organization and as well as in my church fellowship, we give money to the homeless organizations that are already doing the work that others might not be able to do individually. We also are proponents of the community kitchen and things like that where we live. So those are all really, really important. Other areas, everybody says, I just look at videos of pets and I look at videos of little babies and things like that. So we love stories about pets. We love good stories that come. Just the other day, there was a story that we published that had to do with an animal that had been gone for 17 years and somehow made it back to its home. So that's pretty impressive because my wife has a cat. The longest one of our cats has ever lived. They average about 20, 22 years in our house. And so 17 years is a big deal. We love acts of kindness. We love to hear about strangers helping one another. The other day, I shared a story about a woman who was on a hiking trip. She ended up talking to somebody. The person turned out to be somebody who needed a kidney. The woman who was hiking, two strangers, she ended up donating a kidney to her. Another man found somebody who had been injured while he was hiking. He ended up carrying that person on their back and things like that in the midst of all the trials that we're seeing in the South right now because of the flooding from the hurricane and things, I continue to see day in and day out. I see stories of rescues and things like that. Here's one of my biggies. One of my biggies has to do with positive youth and young people who are doing incredible things in their communities. I started this 7 years ago, this company, and one of my first stories was about a kid who went around and convinced his parents that let him buy food, take it down to the homeless, and all of a sudden, overnight, this thing began to grow and grow and grow. A lot of those stories, a lot of the stories we see are related to, especially in schools these days, kids starting food shelves and things like that in their schools, lemonade stands. So if you have stories like that, we love to see those. Obviously, we love to see the ones that have to do with health and wellness. We love to see the medical breakthroughs. We love to see those kind of things happening. I posted one about Alzheimer's this week. I posted two about diabetes this week. There's amazing things that are happening. And so I invite you to bring those to us. We love cultural and artistic uh, celebrations. This week I posted about an international fair that I went to locally in my community and things like that. So if you got something going on, if you can send us the pictures, the video, feel free to share that with us. We need to do more with that. I want to be very clear. I'm a one man show. I have some people who write, some people who do podcasts and things. But what I'm really hoping to do is find somebody who wants to do daily news and things like that. I love inspirational comeback stories. I love stories about individuals or organizations that have overcome adversity, that have made their way, businesses that have gone through crisis, maybe it was a flood or a fire or something like that, and have returned. So if you got a comeback story, we want to hear it. And finally, the last one has to do with the progress that communities are making, communities that are making progress in the area of social or justice or education or things like that, global health initiatives. Those stories are important. Unfortunately, many of those we see are at a national level. Not unfortunately that they're at a national level, but unfortunately we don't get a lot of the homespun ones that are happening. So we want stories, and I'm just going to read what I wrote. We want these type of stories because we want to foster hope, community spirit, and a sense of progress. And so if that's you and you have stories like that, I invite you to get those to us. Thanks. Have a great day.